All right, everybody, welcome to Wild West Hackin Fest. I'm really glad that you all made it. Got a little bit of weather. I'm a little concerned. I'm going to introduce the first speaker. We got Jonathan Ham kicking things off, and he's already been doing shots. Somehow, the conference planners are like, shots on a stage that's 4.5 feet tall. What could possibly go wrong here? He's got a really cool presentation that's completing a trilogy. He'll talk more about it. But I did want to say, Jonathan Ham is like a brother to me. I'm very blessed in having a number of people that are at that level. Jonathan Ham started at my very first major SANS conference, was his very first SANS conference in San Jose, and I don't even remember what the year was. It was a long time ago. It was a long time ago. So we've been through a tremendous amount together, and I'm really happy that he could be here to kick off the presentations tonight. So I'm going to hand the mic over to him, but please give Jonathan Ham a warm round of applause.
Hello? Oh. All right, hold on. Testing. Yeah? We all right? You hear me okay? I hate microphones so much. I would not wear one, but apparently John needs me to wear a microphone because I'm being recorded, which I also hate so much. Being recorded. So, Mr. Bevers, sorry. Yeah. You gonna be okay if I'm just like pacing back and forth like a caged tiger? Okay. Because that's how I feel. Do I have the, oh, I got that there. I got this. Okay. So before I commence, I've been asked to read a brief note. Oh my God, there's so many of you. Thank you, because I'm like wicked nervous. You have no idea. I'm told that because I do this all the time, I'm not allowed to be nervous, but honestly, wow. Okay, so Ms. Kate Marshall wanted me to announce that there's some trivia game that starts at 6 p.m. If you want to play, you should sit in the front rows. And that ends my announcements. I can't start yet. It's 2 minutes until. I'm just going to stand here and stare at you people. I don't no osmosis. There's no dancing. Tap dancing? Jokes? I have a UDP joke, but you guys won't get it. And I'm not going to tell it again. What? You can't set a reset in response to a UDP datagram, dude. That's just. Oh, you're sending a what? And it's a naked reset too, without the ACK bit. What? Oh man, right on. All right. Well, I really am going to give like 1 more minute for people to show up because according to my clock, no, 40 seconds. So how y'all doing? Are you excited to be in South Dakota or what? I am so excited to be in South Dakota. This is going to be killer. This is going to be so much fun this week for days now. Oh, that's the zone I don't go into? All right, well, that's all right. I'm just going to stand around like a caged animal up here. All right, fine, let's do this. All right, so here we go. We all ready? All right, can you see my slides up there? This is a little awkward because usually the slide deck is right behind me so that I can use my hand to make shadow puppets and point at things. And I can't actually do that here. So I got this, I can point like this a little bit if I need to. All right. So this is my test slide to make sure that we can actually project. If it were a real emergency, we would need an ambulance, like that one. That's pretty cool, huh? When I decided to join the rendition InfoSec team, I was on the Slack channel chatting about it, and my CEO, Brandon McCrillis, said something about an ambulance, and I said, "We have an ambulance?" He's like, "What security company doesn't have an ambulance?" So there's our ambulance. That's how you know it's not a test. It's not here. All right. So here's the title slide. Boom. There we go. God, that's getting old, huh? This is the third year you've seen that. So here's how I got here. A couple of years ago, my brother John Strand gives me, can you actually see the font? I hope that's going to be bright enough. It's not washed out. John calls me up and says, "So it's official, we're going to run a con." And I said, "Woohoo, woot, woot, woot. That's awesome. I can't wait to go. How can I help?" He says, "You're a speaker." And I said, "That's not at all what I meant." Because it's going to be a con about stunt hacking. So that is kind of washed out. Anyhow, what it says, I'll read it to you if you have to. This purple, I'm purple. I can pop boxes. I can, but it's not my best skill. And so I'm not really gonna have a stunt hacking story to tell. And then, as I'm trying to figure out what am I gonna talk about, and this is a couple of years ago, what am I gonna talk about? And I look at the speaker list as it grows and grows and grows. And these are people that are gonna be talking that I can't even hold a candle to, and I'm really worried about it. So not worthy. Panic sets in. And all along, Strand's like, "Dude, I need at least an abstract and a title so that we can put something on the website so that people will know what you're going to be talking about." I'm like, "I have no idea. I have no idea what I'm going to talk about." So I finally, I finally discovered that not only am I giving a talk, but Egypt is on the other stage, and that calms me down, because I figured, oh, no one's coming to my talk. Everyone's going to go be seeing Egypt. Yay, except for people actually came, and it was just nerve-wracking. But, okay, I know a bunch of you guys don't know me. Most of you probably, almost all of you, you don't know me. When Kate asked if I would open the conference this year, being the first talk, I was like, why would I do that? Why would you ask me to do that? Nobody knows who I am. Nobody's going to show. They're all going to be checking into their hotels. Why would anyone be here? So here's who I am. I figure the easiest way to show who I am is with who am I? Why not? So within the ICU domain, I am John Ham. I am J Ham. You can call me J Ham. So here's the groups that I belong to. Within the within the rendition domain, I am now part of the threat hunting ops group. I'm the threat hunting ops lead. That's kind of new. That's just this year. Within the SANS Institute domain, I'm part of the principal instructors group. Been there for a while. Within the author domain, I'm part of the network forensics group. That's me. And so from there, now you know where I'm coming from. Here's the privileges that I either do or do not have. If I run who am I /priv, I've taken some liberty with these. They're not verbatim anymore. But this is a repeat slide from the very first one from a couple of years ago. Because as I was freaking out about like what kind of groove I was going to get on for this audience, I had just watched Dave Kennedy do a keynote at B-Sides Cleveland. I wasn't even there. I watched it on the YouTubes, and he's like up just prancing, dancing around, not prancing, sorry Dave. Anyhow, in like flip-flops and shorts and a t-shirt, and he's just like totally riffing like, oh, here's some obfuscated PowerShell. Magic happens. And I'm looking at it going, what then? So the first title that I proposed to Strand for my first talk was, I have no idea what Relic did just there. To which Strand says, yeah, that's a fine title. So that's a privilege I don't have. I don't have the privilege of being able to look at all the obfuscated PowerShell in the world and know what Relic did just there. Stun hacking privilege. Don't have that one neither. I'm not here to impress the Hacksaw audience at Wild West Hackin' Fest with my Hacksaw skills. Can't do that. The rocket surgery privilege. I cannot perform rocket surgery. I cannot do impossible feats. But there's things I can do. And that's why I'm happy to be up here to tell you about the few things that I can do. So the C packet privilege. I can see packets. I can read packets in hex. It's a skill. It's fun. The see bad guys privilege. See, I can't even see my slides, they're so far away. The see bad guys privilege. I can do that. I can hear glass windows break. I tell this story when I'm teaching my SAN students and elsewhere that how hard can this be? How hard can finding the bad guy be? Because I live in Montana. I just came here from Montana. I got to be there one day, this week, this month, whatever. And when I first started my career, I decided that my mission statement was going to be to tilt the playing field. Because I had become convinced that the playing field, like everyone knows, right, is so tilted towards red team. Bad guys have all the advantage. They only have to find one way in. Blue team has to defend all the things. But then I realized, you know what? I had the wrong mission statement. My new mission statement is, now that I've realized that blue team has all the advantage, to convince everybody of my new mission statement that blue team has all the advantage. Because guess what? At my home in Montana, can I keep somebody from breaking into my house? What do you think? Yeah? What? How? I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty high-tech house in Montana, right? On every single wall have these high-tech devices. These special devices built into every single wall that allows me the visibility to see out into the neighborhood, to see what's going on around my house. Perhaps you've heard of these things. They're called windows. They're made of glass. Neighborhood kid with a rock can break into my house. But the thing is, I can hear the glass break. I can hear that, right? I can hear that. I know where all the squeaky floorboards are. I know where the light switches are. I know where my stuff is. Attacker, maybe not so much. So I got a little dude, about this big, can't remember, about that big. He's at that age right now where he knows that when it's bedtime, he goes to bed. He's not supposed to get out of bed until I get him up in the morning, except for one thing. If he has to go potty, he gets out of bed. But he's got that skill now, and he's pretty proud of it. So like in the morning, I get him out of bed, and he'll be like, Daddy, I got up and went potty. I'm like, yeah, I know you did, slugger. No, you didn't flush or wash your hands neither. Because I can hear what goes on in my house. I can hear this. I can see, I can hear. And that's why I got the hear glass windows break privilege. Bad guy breaks into my house in Montana. I hear the glass break. What's bad guy gonna hear? Clack, clack. I live in Montana. Nah, I don't have guns in the house. My wife won't let me. They're not for home defense anyway. They're just for sport. But anyhow, finally, I got the blue team privilege to defend all my stuff. So let's talk about how that works. This was my solution. I'm best when I'm blue, and I can see that my blue font on the blue background was a bad idea. I will refactor this slide deck and publish it later so that you guys can actually read what it says. But maybe I can stunt hunt. Can't stunt hack, maybe I can stunt hunt. So that's what I'm going to do this week. Well, last week and into today. So for a couple of years ago, when I finally had to give up an abstract and a title, I said to Strand, here's what I want. I want you to have your awesome engineers at Black Hills craft me some evil, okay? They called me up and they're like, all right, JM, what do you want? You want like a full campaign or what do you want? I just said, no. I want you just to do whatever the trixiest things are you know how to do, but give me all the packets. I want everything from the switch. I want everything from the tap. Just give me all the packets. Just gimme. And then I'll take it from there. Bespoke malware, yeah, whatevs. I don't care. Just do your worst. Now I figured I'm not allowed to say anymore that the engineers at Black Hills are the best, because actually now I have to say that the engineers at Rendition are the best. Whatevs. Anyhow, that's what I was after. So first year, I figured out where the evil was, ran it to ground. That was year number 1. No content, just flows. That was the plan. Bunch of TCP dump, bunch of Snort, bunch of GIAC, but no content. So then comes the sequel. I did after I got asked to do it the first time. And by the way, that was an unfair ask, John, that I should have to talk at a conference like this with this many people. It's really kind of nerve-wracking, honestly. Used to small classrooms with just people that paid a lot of money, so they can't hate me. You guys didn't pay a lot of money, so you can maybe hate me. Anyhow, in any case, so I did a sequel, and I didn't get to pick what I did the next year because they just said, yeah, do that again. So I said, all right, I'll do it again. And I ran the sequel. Apparently, hunting is a pretty popular sport, as a spectator sport. So they said, do the sequel. And man, that's so washed out, can't even see. But I had some packets left over from the first year from the Black Hills engineers. So that's what I used for my sequel. Found one that seemed interesting. It had some link local multicast name resolution funkiness going on. And so I found a WPAD game and found that there was some web hijacking going on. That was fun. So I ran it to ground, found the oh, by the way, I've redefined the M in MITM, because I don't like the gender specificity of man in the middle, because it could be a woman in the middle, right? But I can't get rid of the acronym, so I just redefined it. The first M is now monkey, because what else are you going to do in the middle besides monkey, right? So it's now monkey in the middle, which is gender non-specific. I own that trademark. Monkey in the middle. So I found the monkey in the middle, and that was fun. And I can't even read it myself. So, yeah, so I was bragging about that for a long time. There we go. And finally, now to today's talk. 10 minutes in. Sorry. Wild West asked if I could do this again and complete the trilogy. So I was happy to do that. Very honored to start this conference this way. But I needed something to hunt. And as I was kind of hinting at, my situation's changed since last year. The beginning of the year, I surrendered a degree of independence. I've been an independent consultant for almost my entire career. For like 25 years, I've been mostly an independent consultant. Started a couple of businesses along the way, walked away from them a couple of times, and was back to being a sole practitioner. And then Jake Williams and Brandon McCrillis hit me up to say, hey, why don't you join Rendition? So you can see now I got a Rendition logo on my thing. I'm now the threat hunting operations lead at Rendition, and apparently really bad at making slides without washing them out. But anyhow, so I thought if I'm going to hunt evil again for a third time, I should find a new adversary. So I thought it might be fun to go head-to-head with a notorious nation-state level adversary. Yeah, Jake Williams. And there's my asterisks. Oh my God, am I really doing this? And, As far as Jake Williams' notoriety, I mean, you can read about him in the New York Times. You can go back and look. He doesn't even get to be secretive anymore about the fact that he's former NSA, former TAO. So I figure who better to hunt than a nation-state actor. So I asked him if he would kindly make me some bespoke command and control traffic. And that's the thing I'm going to hunt. And that's the thing I'm going to show you I hunted. And oh my God, I found him. This talk could have gone another way. This talk could very easily have gone in a way where at the end I have to say, so Jake beat me? And now I get to talk about that. So I found him. So here's Wild West Hackin Fest version 3, Hunting Jake. Upon request, I get some bespoke malware. Some bespoke command and control traffic using a comms channel he claimed he'd never used before and that he'd never seen before, ever used either. Where to put it? That was a challenge. He couldn't just give me the C2. He ran the tool, captured the packets, and that would be nice, but then there's nothing to hunt. So we had to have a place to put it. We need to hide it someplace, and somewhere as real as possible, so we'd need some help. I'll read the red points to you. Thanks, Dale. Where's Dale? Dale, say hi. Where you at? Yay! Thanks, Dale Hobbs. So Dale volunteered his enterprise network within which to run Jake's tool in order to bury the traffic in a way that I'd have to go hunting for it. So the game begins. I get a slice of a ginormous haystack. How big a slice? Jake C2 is buried in a very busy enterprise network. All right. I get a, how big? I get a 1 hour slice of corporate traffic. My expectation is that Dale's going to give me a full content PCAP that I use to hunt with, even though I'm not planning on using full content, but at least I figured I'd have that. Jake is buried in all the things where all the other people are doing all the things on a Saturday morning, and even so, it's more than a 5 gig PCAP for 1 hour on a Saturday morning. So clearly no Wireshark, right? If you all get that. All right, so then what? There's a needle in that haystack, I know it. It's as real as can be, so I gotta find it. So what's the plan? Well, I was gonna do it same as last year. I gotta take my glasses off, this is crazy. All analysis done, quick and dirty. Nothing tricksy, all right? No inspection beyond what I can easily instrument and what anyone could easily instrument. Network flow data, mostly. Some correlation of activities based on that. Thought I'd probably use Snort. I didn't end up actually using Snort much, as you'll see, there's a reason. But a lot of Zeek, but all default configs. And I know it says default config scripts only mostly. Actually, I should have struck the word mostly, because in this case, I just used Security Onion. I just used the latest Security Onion with just the whatever was built in. And then what? Command line inspection of everything that I captured. Nothing that I couldn't script for instant alerting based on the PCAPs that I got. Now, this is a retread from last year. Used to say no content inspection, but guess what? And used to say no Wireshark, no T-Shark, no session reconstruction for L7 content, because this year's focus, gloves off. Man, I'm hunting Jake Williams. I'm gonna use whatever I have to use to find him, because I just didn't want to show up here with nothing to say. So, a little bit of humble pie for starters. Here's me eating it. If you caught my previous talks, you're expecting a bunch of command line stuff on screen, some of which you're not going to be able to read because it's in red. In fact, I may just you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. Hold on. I hate to do this to you guys, but here's what I got to do. There. And give me one more second. I'm gonna make all the red go away so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Only take me a second. This is how bad I am at slides. Some of the red I'll leave. There we go. That's good. That's good. That's good enough. That's good enough. Yeah. Is it just me? Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'll go back to where I was. Thanks, John. There. All right. So here's my humble pie. Notice the napkin to go with my humble pie. Because, so what started out, and I got rid of some of the red. I know you guys are looking for the command line. It's coming up. So I had this totally mistaken notion that I would be able to figure out the topology of all the stuff I was looking at just by looking at it. That I'd be able to figure out what was inside, what was outside. I'd be able to, just looking at this perimeter traffic that I was promised, I'd just be able to figure out the topology. And so that totally didn't happen. I ended up having to ask Dale, because I spent literally an entire afternoon digging through packets, trying to figure out what was inside, what was outside, what's up, what's down, what's north, what's south, what's east, what's west, and finally was like, I don't know what's going on here. And so I called Dale and I said, Dale, and this was like, what, a Sunday or something like that? I mean, I'm sure he's like with his kids at soccer and not, and I'm like, dude, I need a topo diagram. And so he's like, well, when I can get back to my laptop, I'll send you. I was like, dude, just draw it on a napkin and take a picture and text it to me. And so this is what I got. So here's my topo diagram. And with a quick conversation, I learned like what was inside and what was outside. So I at least knew IP addresses to work from. Had to be told the topo. And that's only half the story. Wait, it gets worse. It gets way worse. So half the story indeed. All right, I've left the command line prompts in red because you don't need to see that. That's not important. So I'm looking at this, and what do I find? I find I've got a lot of packets. In 1 hour, I got almost 8 million packets. All right, great. Something to work with. And then I decide, hey, for sanity's sake, now that I know my IP ranges, I know that I should be able to look for, and if you don't know your BPF, you know your Berkeley packet filters, I'll read it out for you. Here we go. Here we go. All right. So we got this. I'm looking at the 13th byte offset of TCP. And the next part, right about there, I'm looking, I'm masking out the ECN bits, the 2 high order bits at the top of the 13th byte of TCP, because I don't know if there's any explicit congestion notification traffic going on. I want to ignore that. What am I trying to get? I'm trying to get all the SYNs. All the SYN packets, SYN segments, all the SYN segments that are sourced from the inside of the network that are going to the outside. That's the not dest 172.16/12 and not dest 10/8, because that's what Dale told me, is that if I'm looking for the outbound stuff, there'd be. And what do I find? Nothing. What? Not a single outbound SYN from this network. Half the story indeed. So then I look and say, well, how about, are there any SYNACs in? Oh yeah, there's SYNACs in. It takes me literally half a day, this is how lame I am, more humble pie right here, half a day to discover what have I got. I got half duplex only, inbound only. I'm supposed to be hunting Jake Williams outbound C2, and all I've got is inbound half duplex traffic to hunt through. At which point I told Dale, and he's like, oh yeah, there you go. And I told Jake too. He's like, you still hunting? I'm like, yeah. Jake starts to offer me hints. He's like, dude, you only have half duplex inbound. Well, actually, at one point he says, that should be all you need, because it's only the inbound stuff that matters anyway. And I'm like, yeah, okay, great. So that's what I'm hunting with. That's what I got. Yeah. Okay, I didn't actually move the file to that name. I kept it hide and seek. So what's next? Well, yeah, that was the oopsie. Dale claimed there was an oopsie with the high availability load balancers. Sure. and so I got 5 gigs of half duplex, inbound only, having a single outbound SYN segment, no beacons neither. How real world is that? Well, a conspiracy theorist might have thought that maybe Dale and Jake were up to a thing. I just chalk it up to it's real world, right? One hand tied behind my back, and I'm not taking no hints from no Jake neither. No way. So this slide is based on my previous slides in the last 2 talks. What I'm going to want to do, my general methodology that my rules are going to have to change. Initially, I want to do some reconnaissance. I want to figure out what's going on the inside of the network, but I got half duplex and only inbound traffic anyhow, so that's not happening. Looking for anomalous behavior, well, okay, maybe I can find something anomalous on the inbound. Timeline analysis, maybe. If you've watched me do this before, you've seen that I loves me some Zeke. I want to trust Zeke, but at this point, how do I even trust Zeke? I'm thinking I'm going to run the traffic through Zeke and see, but man, I don't know how Zeke handles half duplex traffic. Anybody out there know how Zeke handles half duplex traffic? Anybody? Anybody at all? Yeah, okay, yeah, that's true. Osmosis gave me a hint last week. He told me he thought Zeke could be all right with it. So I gave it a shot. Thank you, my mentor, sir. Anyhow, only responses. Damn it, what do? Well, so here's what I did. Going adaptive. If you can't read that on the screen. So my initial reconnaissance, and again, this is a repeat of a slide from a couple of years ago, actually last year and the year before, where I basically am just lining out the things, because the duration, last couple of times, I didn't know when it started and stopped, so I had to come up with a timeline on my own. This time I know it's 1 hour. Last time I didn't know what I was looking for. This time I know I'm looking for C2. As for the rest of it, looking for some anomalies, obvious, and looking for who's who, yeah, I got to find the endpoints of that C2. Drilling down on that anomalous stuff. I still got to find who is evil, but the rest of these items are lined out because I don't really care at this point who's evil talking to other than outbound to an endpoint for C2. That's it. And no more timeline analysis, gloves off. This is just C2. So I start with my sanity check. Got to run a little cap infos, figure out what's going on. Now what you'll notice is all of a sudden I have a lot fewer packets than I had previously looked at. With the 7.7 million packets, I realized that whatever monkey business Dale was doing with this PCAP, I I had a whole bunch of lateral traffic I didn't care about. I had a whole bunch of stuff from 172.16/12 to 10/8. I had all this crap, and all I cared about was it's got to be, I know it's only inbound, so it's got to be coming from outside in the world, headed to 172.16/12. So I did filter that. I did a little BPF to filter that. So now I've only got that many packets. All right. So I got that going on, and then I did some TCP dump sanity check with the BPF filter to make sure that Jake's not doing some crazy thing with some non-standard protocol. If you read my BPF down here, whoa, that was a weird. Yeah, I don't know what happened to my pointer thing. There we go. Yep, there we go. So I'm looking for anything. Anything that's not ICMP, TCP, or UDP. That would be the 9th byte offset of the IP protocol. That's the protocol field. Looking for anything that's not ICMP, TCP, and UDP, and there's nothing that's not those. So everything in there is at least either ICMP, TCP, or UDP. That's my sanity check. And thanks to, yes, Matthew Toussaint. Thank you, sir, for suggesting that maybe I could trust Zeke. So, you know what? I figured let's give Zeke a chance. Because I don't know what I'm going to do otherwise. Honestly, there's an entire week redacted at this point, where I spent an entire week, I wasn't going to trust Zeke. I didn't think that, if Zeke never sees a SYN segment, how's Zeke going to know about connections? I wouldn't trust Zeke. Me of little faith. So I spent literally like a week of evenings while I was busy teaching a boot camp for SANS from 8 a.m. in the morning till 7 p.m. at night every day, and I would spend my evening hours with nothing but TCP dump and Berkeley packet filters trying to figure out a way to make sense out of any of this. And I finally said, all right, let's run it through Zeke. And lo and behold, Zeke saw a bunch of stuff. I mean, check it out. Check out the conlog, right? He actually found that many connections. And a lot more redacted. If I should have more slides than this, but I actually went and looked at the conlog, and it even knew about connections where it never saw the SYN segment, but still reported it as proper source 172.16/12 address going outbound, even though all it ever saw was the inbound SYN-ACK and all the return traffic. I was amazed, and I thought, all right, well, I can work with that. I can work with that, even though, I mean, if Zeke will help me make sense of it, so I can work with that. So here's the next thing I decided to look at. Looking at that conlog, looking at the responding port only. So if you're not familiar with Zeke, used to be named Bro, now it's Zeke. Call it Zeke. So I cat out that conlog, and I pipe it out through brocut, just looking for, now in the conlog, this is what Zeke calls the destination port, id.resp under P. So I'm looking at the responding ports to see, all right, where were all these outbound connections going to? And so I pipe that out through sort, pipe that out through unique-c to get a count, pipe it out through sort again, sorting numerically on the reverse. So what you're seeing here is, and this is a favorite trick of mine, right? So I'm seeing on the left-hand column, that's how many times the port on the right-hand side was seen to be responding. So, okay, that's a lot of DNS traffic. That looks suspicious. I'm going to be really, really disappointed, though, if I find Jake tunneling in DNS. Really? Honestly? No, I can see you shaking your head. No, of course not, Jake. Of course you're not going to tunnel in DNS. But I got to look, right? I got to look. With all that much DNS, man, that seems kind of fishy. And the next most common thing is port 443. And then we get to port 80. I'm not even looking on port 80 because, man, seriously, all I would want, if Jake was lame enough to be using HTTP on port 80, then it would be a matter of grep post. but I don't have the outbound, so I can't even look for that, right? I thought of that too. I was like, oh, I'll just grep for post and I'll find Jake. Nope. He's not posting on port 80, and even if he is, I can't see it. So I'm going after the DNS first, I think, right? So is Jake in the DNS? Jake shakes his head. No, he's not in the DNS. So here's how I look for Jake. This is just standard threat hunting at this point, right? So I say, all right, Zeke, tell me what's in your DNS log. Actually, let's back up. How many of you know that Zeke is bro and bro is Zeke? Everybody, right? Okay, good. Now, do you know why? Here's the thing I find, that my young friends, I'm old, my young friends don't know why it was bro and now it's Zeke, so I'm going to tell that. So Zeke's been around for like 20 years. When Vern Paxson first invented it, he called it bro, and 20 years ago, there was no veiled misogynistic bro culture with all the bromance and the brogrammers and all that. That didn't exist. He called it bro for a really good reason. He named it after Big Brother from George Orwell's 1984. How many people knew that? Okay, yeah, that's my audience. You guys know, right? Which makes sense because what's Zeke for? I'm calling Zeke now. What's Zeke for? When I first looked into this tool, and this is my love affair with Zeke, when I first looked into it, I was not impressed. I did not like. A little bit of disclosure, I used to do a whole lot of work with SourceFire before SourceFire got bought by Cisco. I was never a SourceFire employee, but I did a lot of work with them. So you can imagine I'm a pretty big Snort head, and Snort doesn't even make it into this talk. Why? Well, I went and looked into this new tool, new to me anyhow, and I saw the Zeek script, well then, bro, scripting language, and I said, ew, looks like Perl. That was my first language. And then I looked at the data structures getting passed around in Zeek scripts, and I said, ew, that looks like the index of indexes of indexes of arrays of indexes that I used to build in Perl. And that's not okay. Don't. Friends don't let friends code in Perl. Anyhow, and I thought, you know what? Never mind this. I don't need another network-based IDS. I have Snort. But that was my mistake. Zeek is not a network-based IDS. I mean, you can use it as that. You can, totally. But that's not really what it is. Vern Paxson had it right originally to name it what he named it. It's Big Brother. Why? It observes everything. Just right out of the box. There's nothing that Zeek doesn't observe. All you have to do is just ask it, hey, Zeke, did you see this thing I'm interested in? And it'll either say nope, or yeah, here it is. And so I asked Zeke, hey, Zeke, did you observe Jake in the DNS? And here's how I asked it. I said, Jake would be in here if. So I said, cat out all of your DNS, and then let's just look at the queries. And then I'm going to grep out anything that contains ARPA, because I had noticed, I redacted some stuff. I had noticed that there was a bunch of reverse lookups. So a bunch of stuff, .inaddr.arpa looked up. So I didn't want that. And also grepped out anything that just began with a dash, because that's where the query has no answer. And then what else did I do? Then I used a funky bit of sed to squish out the host name. Everything up to the first dot. Because I figure if somebody's tunneling in DNS, they're going to be doing something kind of like DNS cat or iodine. You guys know those tools. That's where the tunnel's actually encoded in the host name. And so I'm just looking for how many unique hits are there on everything in the FQDN besides the host name. And I sort that by how many, and that doesn't look like there's any DNS tunnel. Because if somebody was doing something DNS catty or iodine-y, I would see like 1,000 or more datagrams all at the same domain name, and I'm not seeing that. So kind of like I figured, yeah, Jake's not in the DNS. Damn it. And now by this point, I'm starting to get real nervous because I figure I am literally days away from now. And I had not found Jake, and I don't even know what to go looking for, but I decide maybe I should go looking at port 443 next. See, is Jake in the TLS? Could it be like that? So what am I doing with the TLS here? This is just honestly me getting lucky on a hunch. So because Zeke is kind enough to capture all the inbound, Zeke actually observed all the X.509 certs. And I'm thinking, that might be a place Jake would hide. In the X.509 certs. Now, I am omitting all the flailing around and all the hours spent not finding Jake to fast forward to the, I think I found Jake. And here's how. So what am I doing here? I say, hey, Zeke, show me what's in the X.509 log. Show me the certificates that you found. And in this case, I'm drilling down on the issuer field. There's something else I omitted. Maybe I shouldn't have. But the slide got kind of ugly when I tried to show just looking at the size, just the mere size of the X.509 certs, looking for the small ones. Because, you know what? Evil certs tend to be smaller than normal. Real certs are fully populated with all the things. And I was hoping against hope that Jake might be lazy and might not build a fully formed X.509 cert with all the fields in it, and I'll bet he won't make that mistake again because I did in fact find smaller certs. But the key to it, I realized, was the issuer field. You can put anything you want to in the issuer field. So I'm looking at the issuer field, and specifically at the length of the issuer field. That's my fun awk. I just say, hey, Zeke, show me all the issuer fields and all your certs. And then awk, why don't you show me the length of the issuer field, and then sort that out, and then show me the shortest ones. Is that base 64 I'm looking at in the issuer field? I'm pretty sure there's not supposed to be base 64 in the issuer field. So at this point I realized that Malware Jake had lied to me because I had asked him up front, before I started hunting, I had said, hey Jake, did you at least leave me like an Easter egg or something so that I would know if I found you? And he's like, nope. Just tell me, if you think you found me, just tell me the endpoint IP address, and that's how we'll confirm it. But I see this, and oh, by the way, yeah, I had gone through a couple of different false positives. There were a couple of different things I found in Dale's traffic that, like, I found this first thing. Can't talk about it because it's actual proprietary traffic on his network. And I promised I would not reveal anything. Everything would be redacted. But I found this one thing. And I was pretty sure I had found Jake. And so I said, hey, Dale, is this Jake? He said, nope. And I said, oh, uh-oh. Free threat hunt for Dale. Said, I think I maybe found something bad, dude. And he looks into it and he's like, no, that's fine. That's normal anomaly. I'm like, oh, okay. Then I found another thing. Oh my God, it was in the HTTP. And I found it by looking at the return traffic in the HTTP. And I looked at it, and it was coming from an HTTP server, and I looked at the server headers, and it was so totally not okay. It was so totally tooled. There was no question that it was tooled. And I had to say, okay, Dale, either this is Jake or you have a problem. And he said, well, it's not Jake. And, oh God, let me go look into it. And he looks into it, and it's fine. So wow, this may be one of the few threat hunts I've ever done in my whole life where I only found Jake and I didn't find anything else. Man, kudos for a scrubby network, dude. It was all nice and clean. I didn't actually find anything bad in there but Jake. But I did find Jake, and I find that he lied to me because I see that base 64 and I'm like, oh my God, could this be another false positive? Could this possibly be? So, of course, I see it this way because it's one of the shortest issuer fields in all of the X.509. But I take another look, and I'm just like, well, let's look even simpler, because I notice that the issuer field does not have a CNAME, canonical name field in it. So I'm just like straight to ground. All right, you know what? Let's look at all the issuer fields that don't have a CNAME subfield. And I'm pretty sure I found Jake at this point, right? So a little bit of base 64-D, and I see what Jake's message is. Format C:/ /Y. That's not nice. But it's not supposed to be anyhow, right? So I found Jake, and I don't think I'm going to do this ever again, because next time Jake's going to be way harder to find. But honestly, he evaded so much. I don't even know how many hours I put into this. I had to cut it down to just the things that are interesting on slide so that you didn't have to watch me flail around. So literally last week I was teaching in Denver at a science conference in Denver, and I had gotten these packets just leaving San Diego for Denver. I got to Denver and I actually invited everyone. I tweeted out at the conference, hey, anyone want to come watch me flail around hunting for Jake? Jeff came and watched me flail. That was fun. It became a spectator sport. People shoulder surfing me. How many hours did I flail around looking for Jake? I swear to God. And now he knows my thing, and he's never going to be found again. But he evaded. He knew, right? So we know Dale. I knew that Dale had not only Zeek data for the real stuff, but he's running Rita. You guys know Rita? That's not enough hands, right? Yeah, what? Seriously? Rita, real intelligence threat analytics. Yeah, real-time intelligence threat analytics. It's just named after John's mom, okay? Let's just put it that way. She was a wonderful lady. Anyhow, that was going to be my go-to. Rita is awesome at finding C2. That was so totally going to be my go-to. But not only that, we knew that Dale had AI Hunter running in his environment as well. And of course, Jake knew that if I had to, I was going to bring out that cannon. And Jake totally eluded Rita. He totally eluded AI Hunter. He totally eluded all those tools. And that's why it was me and TCP dump and Berkeley packet filters for hours and hours and hours on end until my eyeballs were bleeding. I literally dreamt in Hex last week. I'm not even kidding. I dreamt packets in Hex last week. I showed up at class and I told my students, I was teaching the CISSP track. Don't do that. It's not fun. And I showed up and I was like, you guys, can we talk about like management-y things? Because I dreamt in Hex. It's been a while since I've done that. So anyhow, found him. There it is. So here's my summary since I'm on the end of the hour. Same summary from last year. In the land of the blind, the one-eyed man is king. Instrument your networks, folks. Maybe you won't find Jake, but you will find all sorts of amazing things. With Rita, with Zeek, heck, with BPF filters, you can find some amazing things out there. Osmosis says I won't find him. He's been saying that for years. Maybe I'll come hunt you next year. Challenge accepted, I don't know. Maybe I'm going to do something easy next year, like IP6. You want to do IP6 next year? You hear it burns? Yes. Don't want to get it on your skin. Anyway, there we have it. But my summary plus, much thanks to Jake Williams and Dale Hobbs. And if you guys would come up here, I would really appreciate it. Dale, come on guys. Because I so totally couldn't have done it without these guys. It was the hardest hunt of my entire career. 25 years leading to panic. What's that? Huh? I would like you to, sir. Yeah. Well, yep. Hold on.
We'll be close together for a second.
I'm gonna turn it over.
Hey, so real quick here, I want to thank Dale. Without Dale, this wouldn't have been possible. Dale's an outstanding dude. We really appreciate him contributing. Wow. Yes. Really appreciate him contributing back to the community. And Dale, want to give you a rendition coin. Thank you so much for your service, man. Thanks. All right. Hey, thanks, brother. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, guys. Honestly, that was the greatest threat hunt of my career and about the most horrifying week I've had in a while. Anyhow, so I guess I'm still up here. Any questions?
How much did you build the client for this test?
How much did I bill the client for this test? Honestly, Dale's employer literally got a free threat hunt out of this. And I'm so pleased to announce that for the second time in 25 years, I found a network that I didn't find anything bad on except for Jake. And Jake was by invite. No bill. Any other questions?
What was the most valuable thing you learned?
The most valuable thing I learned. Yeah, what was the most valuable thing I learned? I learned, honestly, I learned that Zeke is more amazing than I had thought. I've known for a while that I don't trust my tools unless I've seen them perform in the right way with verifiable evidence that they're doing the thing that I expect. And what I learned is I should have jumped onto Zeke sooner because I just didn't trust it at all. As soon as I saw I had half duplex, I shoved Snort aside, I shoved Zeke aside because I figured, you know what? Nothing's going to be able to help me if nothing sees a sin segment. And actually, the other thing that I omitted, man, I didn't just look at the DNS over UDP, I looked at all the UDP. I looked at all the ICMP. I looked at all that stuff. Just digging and sorting on ICMP types and codes because I didn't know where it was going to hide. Hell. And I finally just decided it's got to be in the TCP, but I didn't trust Snort and I didn't trust Zeke. And what I should have done was what Osmosis suggested is give it a shot. And so I totally gave it a shot. And yay, massive. I should have an extra thanks up here to Vern Paxson and Seth Hall and the team over at Zeke. That wow, what a tool! And as soon as I figured out that it was seeing what I expected it to see, I mean, no offense, Jake, but if I had full duplex traffic, I would have trusted Zeke immediately, and I probably would have found you in the first hour. No, it's okay. It won't happen again. I know it won't happen again, because next time, nothing. All right. Apparently, yes. Question? When I'm doing a threat hunt, how do I know when I'm done? Because Jake said so? No. He did confirm. In real world, how do I know when I'm done? I'm never done. I mean, honestly, and this is not facetious, this is literally the second time I've hunted without finding bad. And the first time was a U.S. federal agency that goes by a 3-letter acronym and takes its security stupendously serious. But that was like 17 years ago, and I think I must have missed something. I'd like to think I'm better at my game now than 17 years ago. How do I know when I'm done? When I can't bill anymore, right? No, when the clock runs out, when the budget runs out, and I haven't found anything, or I found something. But typically, I always find something to run to ground. And then we just work from there, you know, until I can't find anything else anymore. But I've never not found anything except for those 2 times, and it's really kind of weird. So that was how it ended these times. Every other time it's just keep going, keep going, keep going, keep going until there's nothing left to find. Because there's always evil. Other questions, anything?
I have a question about self-signed certificates. How common are self-signed certificates with malware?
Now Jake wants to know how common are self-signed certificates in malware. Still wicked, wicked common. And that's honestly, that's a great question, and it's one worth pointing out, because when the EFF, anyone here from EFF? Nobody from the Electronic Frontier Foundation here. That's so sad. All right, well, give them your money anyway. But when EFF decided to go from monitoring the trust vendors to becoming a trust vendor for free and giving away trustable certs, everybody kind of freaked out a bit. They're like, oh, all the bad guys are going to start running Let's Encrypt certs because you can get them for free. And honestly, Jake, not so much. Not so much. The bad guys are still lazy. They still use self-signed certs, which is why, of course, I went looking for the issuer field and the subject field, and that's, of course, how I found you. Man, if you'd have spoofed that and put base 64 anywhere else, that's the hint. What's that?
We've got Zeek and Awk and packets.
Oh yeah? You got Zeek and Awk and packets? Read a lab. Oh, we have a read a lab. Yay! Wow. Maybe I know what I'm going to be doing for the rest of the week. Yes, question?
Some of us that have clients that can't necessarily afford advanced tools, but also don't have the manpower to find answers themselves, what would be your recommendation for where they can at least start?
What's my recommendation if you don't have money for tools? I'll take that one first. Is that yeah? Okay. Security Onion, another massive hat tip to Doug Burks for Security Onion because it's all there. Seriously, download Security Onion, slap it on any x86 box. You have an enterprise class sensor or console in 15 minutes. If you want a sensor, you just install it, boot it up. There's an icon on the desktop. Double click it and tell it you want a sensor. It'll ask you a few questions about topology, where it's placed, whatever, what you want it sensing. 15 minutes later, you got a sensor. Right? You got to have a NIC in there for that. Or if you want a console, double click, and 15 minutes later, it'll ask you some questions about like what is it aggregating from where, whatever. And 15 minutes later, you got a console, and it's totally enterprise class SIM. It's got everything baked in. It's got Snort, Circata, Zeek. It's got the Elk stack. It's got Kibana built in, man. It's got everything. So you don't need to actually pay for tools anymore, other than you need some x86 stuff. But so then what? Don't have the budget to train the skills? Just work harder. Keep practicing. Keep practicing. Look, I didn't know how to do this years ago. I figured out how to do this. Well, with a lot of help from a lot of really, really smart people that have mentored me along the way. My thank you list, I couldn't fit on 100 PowerPoint slides. But spin it up in the lab and practice. All right, one more, and then I'm told I have to go. Oh, in the real world, do I typically hunt solo or in a pack? It depends. I have hunted solo. I have hunted in a pack. I am really happy to say I can hunt in a pack now with Jake's company. Thank you for starting Rendition, man. But I have hunted with lots of people. I've gotten to hunt with John Strand's company. I have gotten to hunt with my own company. I've got to hunt in packs. I've got to hunt solo. But right now, I'm very pleased to get to hunt with Rendition because, man, what a bunch of really talented people. And with that, what's that? What's that?
Trivia in here tonight.
Yes, trivia in here tonight. Yeah, thank you. Kate will like me to remind you. Trivia starts at 6. If you want to play, please sit in the front row. And with that, I'm sure I'm supposed to have been off the stage already. Anyhow, Thank you very much for your attention. I had a blast.